continue with the Saifa applications. Now, last week we looked at the opening movement of Saifa kata, which is I'm stepping, pulling, and we stopped there. I prefer breaking those two movements from here to here as two separate movements. So last week we explained that that opening movement, the bunkai behind it, is I'm pulling my opponent to my hip and twisting the neck. And that's enough for that part. How you continue the fight after that. You don't need a kata. Kick the guy. Call an ambulance. Okay, so the next part is when we are facing our opponent here, maybe we try the opening movement. Maybe we find ourselves in this position here. We're now looking at this. So one way of thinking is that if I'm inside the fight here, that I'm going to be using one hand to slap into my opponent's face and the other arm to clear the grip. So if I'm in a position where I'm being pushed back, shiku is the ideal position here to have a very strong stance. 45 shiku is the halfway point between still being able to move against your opponent and being in a stable stance. Facing your opponent in shiku is terrible because you're going to get pushed over. So the kata goes at a complete 90-degree angle against your opponent here. Your opponent's pushing and you are going back in shikudachi. To me, that says I am pulling this opponent or I am being pushed. And I need to stop whatever's happening in its tracks. So if we look at this movement here, I take my back leg's arm, striking into the face. I take my other arm and I'm clearing whatever's happening here and I'm striking. So now this movement here, it almost becomes one movement. You can even use the second movement or the first movement again while doing the second, but now you're attacking your opponent. And then from there you should be on the, if everything worked out according to plan, on the outside of your opponent's arms, you're striking, and now you're moving in to finish the fight, which might, as you saw there, maybe be the next sequence of movements. So let's look at this again. I'm in the fight, I'm being pushed back, I anchor myself here. As I anchor myself, I'm slapping into my opponent's face. From this here, I'm dropping the other arm, I'm raising it, I want to clear that the arms are behind me, and then I'm putting energy back. So I'm not going backwards, I'm putting energy back against my opponent here, and I move in. So we are looking at this part of the kata. And to me that makes more sense than thinking my opponent's punching at me and I'm blocking a punch, pulling the arm and then hitting. There is no ways that, at least in my limited abilities, I will be able to catch someone's wrist. I can't even catch a pool noodle. I will be able to catch someone's wrist when they are punching at 100 miles an hour at me. But what I can do is I can use this seemingly blocking movement as an attack in the face. What a pleasure. I can use the raising of the arm instead of going, well, I'm gaining momentum to hit really hard. No, I'm clearing. Hit the face, clear the arms, which follows the same trajectory as the arms do in the kata, and then hit, control, maybe move to the side, knee kick and take your opponent down. I hope that makes sense. Experiment a bit with that and then come back next week for bunkai number 3.